I want to talk about something people don't like to touch because it makes them uncomfortable. Why children, especially adult children, choose to go no contact with their parents. Let me say this before anything else. Nobody goes no contact because they expected their parents to be perfect. I know I didn't. Perfection was never the request. What we expected was simple: sincere apologies, real accountability, and meaningful change. But instead of honesty, many of us grew up hearing, "That never happened. You're being dramatic. You don't remember the good times. I'm your mama. It wasn't that bad." And that denial built a lifetime of confusion, hurt, and emotional exhaustion. So today, I want to break down 10 very real reasons why a child might step away and why, for their mental health, it sometimes becomes necessary.
Okay, let's go.
All right, y'all, before I jump into today's topic, let me introduce myself. For those of you who are new here, my name is Rocky, and this channel is dedicated to helping women, and yes, sometimes men too, grow closer to God by healing the trauma that keeps getting in the way. Because the truth is this: you can love God and still have wounds that make it hard for you to trust Him and have a true relationship with Him. You can pray, you can serve, you can worship, and still struggle because the very places where you were supposed to feel safe, protected, nurtured, and guided were the places where you were harmed. And when you don't heal that, it creates distance between you and God that you don't even realize is happening. And that is why I do the root work, the healing work, the growth work, the love work, and all the ish in between, because around here, we choose to heal together. So make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any of the other content that helps you heal emotionally and spiritually. And if you want to go deeper into prayer, scripture, devotionals, fasting challenges, and even a supportive community, I want to invite you to join the Rooted Circle right on school. You can get in 7 days free to try it out, and I promise you, healing hits different when you don't have to do it alone. Okay, so let me jump into today's topic. Today, we're talking about, of course, something that's heavy, and nobody takes this lightly. And I want to go into the top 10 reasons why, as children, especially for me, why we choose to go no contact. So here's number one: they were denied honesty, accountability, and true repair. This is the number one reason. Like, you were denied honesty, accountability, and true repair. Children aren't asking for their parents to be perfect. I never was. I was asking for the truth. I was actually asking for acknowledgement, for accountability, for repair, so we can, as an adult child and my parent, we can have a relationship. But when a child says, "This hurts me," and the parent responds, "That never happened. You're being dramatic. You made me act that way," it does something deep inside of that child. It teaches them, my truth doesn't matter here. My pain is not safe here. And that denial becomes emotional abandonment, because when you really think about it, and when your reality gets rejected, you get rejected. And when a child can't trust the person who raised them to acknowledge the truth, they start to question their own discernment. Their ability to trust God's voice becomes tangled with the fear of, what if I'm wrong? What if I'm overreacting? What if I'm imagining things? And when a parent refuses accountability, the child often struggles to believe that God, your heavenly parent, would do any better. And no contact becomes the first time they choose truth, even when their parent refuses to offer it. The second reason is that your pain is minimized or dismissed. Minimizing pain sounds like you're too sensitive, it wasn't that bad, other kids had it worse. This destroys emotional safety. A child starts to believe, my feelings are wrong, my memories are wrong, I am wrong. Their internal world gets dismantled. This kind of wound teaches them not to trust their own emotional signals. So when God nudges them, warns them, or comforts them, they second guess it. They don't know how to believe a feeling from God when their feelings were always dismissed. So no contact becomes a boundary that says, my feelings get to matter now. Reason number 3, we grew up with manipulation instead of care. Manipulation would sound like, after everything I've done for you, you're ungrateful. I sacrificed for you. And manipulation is one of the quickest ways to break a child's spirit because it makes love feel costly. It makes affection feel earned. It makes connection feel conditional. And children raised in manipulation often grow up believing they have to earn God's love too, that they have to perform for Him, that they have to be perfect, that their worthiness is tied to their behavior. Manipulation creates spiritual exhaustion in your relationship with God. And no contact becomes the soul saying, I will not be controlled anymore, not by fear, not by guilt, and not by this emotional ransom that you keep putting out on my life. Reason number 4, your boundaries were never respected. Oh my goodness. Some parents interpret boundaries as disrespect. If a child says no, they hear defiance. If a child wants privacy, they hear secrecy. If a child asks for space, they hear rejection. A child who grows up with boundary violations becomes an adult who doesn't know how to protect themselves. And when boundaries aren't allowed in childhood, that person struggles to believe they're allowed to have boundaries with anyone, right? Like they struggle to believe that they can have boundaries, even spiritual ones. So they struggle to say no. They struggle to walk away from what harms them. They struggle to trust that God actually wants them to be protected. No contact becomes the first time they practice boundary setting that actually holds and actually protects them and allows them to see themselves. Reason number 5, we were forced to grow up too fast. Yep. When children become the parent emotionally, mentally, or even physically, they lose their childhood. They learn to survive, not live. They support themselves and not be supported. They carry without being carried. And this creates a deep struggle to rely on God because you were trained to rely only on yourself. They like, I didn't know God. I didn't know God, like how to rest in God. I didn't know how to trust that He will catch me. I became so self reliant because that was my form of survival, even when my survival method was killing me. So, no contact becomes a chance to finally say, I get to be human now. I get to be held. I get to actually hear from God and actually build a relationship with God that is authentic and meets me where I'm at, plus goes beyond. Reason number 6, the relationship becomes emotionally unsafe. You shouldn't feel sick to your stomach before calling your parent. You shouldn't see their name pop up on your screen and be like, ugh. You shouldn't brace yourself before visiting them. You shouldn't feel tense or anxious or on guard around the people who brought you into the world. Emotional unsafety can be subtle, but it can be devastating. It teaches the child that love means discomfort, instability, fear, or just constant tension. So you find yourself, I don't know who this is for, but you find yourself in a relationship, and if there's no tension, you feel like there's no love. So so that also becomes subconsciously projected into your relationship with God. You're expecting God to be unpredictable or harsh or punish you. This makes intimacy with God difficult because you don't know what safety is supposed to feel like. And when you do decide to become no contact with your parent, it becomes a declaration like, love should not hurt me. Love should not hurt me. Love should not hurt me. Reason number 7, your trauma was compared instead of honored. So your trauma was compared to something else instead of honored. So comparison can sound like, I had it worse. You're lucky compared to what I went through. But comparison shuts down you actually making a connection with your mom or your dad. It tells the child, your pain doesn't deserve its own space. When a parent measures trauma instead of healing it or leaving space for it to be healed, the child learns that suffering must hit a certain level before God cares. They start to believe their pain isn't big enough to bring to God. They silence themselves in prayer because they don't want to feel dramatic with God too. No contact creates space where their pain is finally allowed to exist without competition or comparison to their mom or dad's own pain. Reason number 8, everything turns into guilt or blame. When every conversation gets flipped back on the child, you're ungrateful. You're the problem. You never appreciate me. I'm your mama. I'm your daddy. The child develops chronic emotional instability. They walk away feeling confused, guilty, or ashamed for things that weren't theirs to hold in the first place. Like, this creates a distorted relationship with God too, because now the child assumes that God is always disappointed, always blaming, always finding fault in them. They fear prayer because they only know what blame feels like and not grace. And so a lot of times as children, we don't form a sincere relationship with God because we think God is always mad at us or disappointed in us. That intimacy you seek, that prayer life you want to have with God becomes very surface level instead of deep the way that you need it to be in order for you to have an authentic relationship with God. You're thinking, I don't deserve grace. I don't deserve mercy. I don't deserve favor, because you always feel like you're disappointing God. And so when a child decides to go no contact becomes the internal fight to reclaim clarity and emotional truth in their lives. Reason number 9, healing requires distance from the source of the wound. If you want to heal as a child and you decide to go no contact, as an adult, right? You want to heal that inner child, you have to distance yourself from the person who hurt you. You cannot recover what keeps re-injuring you or re-triggering you. No contact doesn't mean you hate them. It means you're healing and you're separating from what repeatedly opens the same wound. Now, here's the thing. Distance gives God room to speak without interference. It gives you space to relearn love and trust and safety and identity without being pulled back into the dysfunction that you're trying to escape. So sometimes as an adult, healing means you have to distance yourself, because if you don't distance yourself, you won't open that doorway to spiritual restoration, especially a more intimate relationship with God. And here is reason number 10, many adult children choose no contact. We wanted the relationship to grow and our parents didn't. This is the realization that takes us the longest to get to, because we genuinely want our parents to change so we can have a relationship with them. And sometimes we think that forgiveness and even our own healing journey means reconciliation with them. This is the heartbreak that nobody talks about. Most children go no contact because, most children who go no contact did want the relationship to work. We pray for it, we fight for it, we hope for it. But a relationship cannot grow if there's only one person willing to evolve, willing to do the work. And so when parents refuse to change, we feel like as children, we often struggle to believe God can bring transformation into our lives too. We confuse a parent's unwillingness with God's ability. We assume if my parent won't change, maybe nothing and no one ever will. And so in order for us to have a closer relationship with God, in order for us to heal, in order for us to know hey, the work that I'm doing is the work I got to do, and my parents have to do the work they got to do, we have to go no contact. No contact becomes the moment we choose hope for ourselves, even if our parent doesn't choose it with us. And I want to say this because this is in my spirit. Them choosing not to heal and move forward has nothing to do with you. It's not your fault. They have to come to this on their own. They have to come to this journey on their own. They have to come to this healing space on their own. There is nothing you could have done to make them change in any type of way. And so I want to encourage you, if any of these 10 reasons resonated with you, I want you to really go into a space with God where you're welcoming in your hurt, your pain, and you're saying to yourself, yes, these are the reasons why I either have gone no contact or I need to go no contact. Because we don't realize that sometimes healing means that we're going to be in a vulnerable space where we can be retriggered, and you have to remove the retriggering thing from you. So I just wanted to share this with you all as to 10 reasons why, even for myself, why I choose no contact in a certain way, no conversation, and why many of us adult children decide to go no contact. And I want to say, I'm proud of you for choosing yourself first. I'm proud of you for working on your relationship with self and with God so you can be a better person, a better mom, a better dad, a better son, whoever you need to be better for, but most importantly, so you can be a better child of God. I want to thank you for watching this video. If this spoke to you, if you felt seen or understood in any way, there are 3 things I want you to do. Number 1, I want you to subscribe so you don't miss any future videos that help you heal emotionally, spiritually, or even relationally. Number 2, I want you to share this video out, right? Share it with someone. Comment below and let me know if you want more content like this. Your feedback helps me create exactly what you need. And then number 3, I want to encourage you to join the Rooted Circle on School. Yes, it is a women's only community, but inside of the Rooted Circle, you get 7 days free to join, and I promise you there's devotionals, there's prayers, there is community support. The Rooted Circle is really a space where you can learn how I can grow closer to God with real tools, real strategies, real things that work. This is my invitation for you to join the Rooted Circle. And I want to leave you with this. You didn't ask your parents for perfection. You asked for humanity. You asked for decency. You asked for truth. And choosing your healing is never dishonoring them. It is you getting into alignment with who God called and created you to be. And I'm proud of you. Around here, we heal together. Go out there and conquer your ish. I'll see you in the next video.